Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I have another single battle post-commentary using America 3.7. I'm on battle mode Tunisia, which as I mentioned in previous videos is one of the better battle mode configurations in my opinion, although I do think this is the slightly weaker side. Now we've already skipped forwards about a minute into the game, try and cut out some of that awkward driving. And you can see I'm driving the M10 and I'm the furthest player out in the eastern side. I'm going for my favoured spot on this map from this side. It's not necessarily the most covered, but it should be the most covered from the enemy spawn direction at least. Now the reason I'm driving the M10 is because it's a full up tier and I want the extra firepower that the 76mm gun can provide. So just coming out, tucking in behind the rock, there is an enemy just slipped down into the river there, Panzer IV F2, and there's several shots coming from these rocks in front of me. So at least this one Panzer III I can see, and slightly scuffed my shot on, and then there was an enemy behind the rocks, one to the left and one to the right. That's one opponent down, second spotted. Now, Panzer IV down, it's a good start, it's a nasty tank. All the Panzer IVs really are quite nasty, but that one's got a bit more trolley armour. Just constantly turning, try and keep an eye for that Panzer IV. See if I can spot him, see if I know which way he's going. Now the last few times I've played battle configuration on this map, I have found myself getting flanked by the town very quickly. So as soon as I ran out of ready targets to shoot at, I've turned around, I've come back, especially as I know that Panzer IV was there. And here we are. So Panzer IV-G just started moving as I was waiting for my gun to stabilise. There's an F2, and I probably should have checked to see what else was there before taking the shot, because we also have a pair of KV-1Bs. Thankfully they just rushed their shot a bit. I was able to take one of them out. The second one is turning and heading my way. I had to rush my own shot there, no real time for the gun to stabilise, but he's down. That's, even in a 4.7 game, it's two very nasty tanks taken out, thankfully. The KV-1Bs are just slightly too strong in my opinion. Just a smidgen. But they're both out, or at least they're both on respawn. They should hopefully not be coming back in another KV-1. I've got a squad mate out here in Stoti to try and help me cover this flank. I am aware at least one Panzer IV did make it away from me. I got three of them that were coming this way. There was a fourth, and I've just seen him. No shot right now. I need to reposition. Unfortunately not before he managed to take out Stoti. So that's kill number 6 on the board, and I figure probably about time I go back to this rock and start looking in the other direction again. There might still be more stuff coming around from the town, but I can't afford to really stay there forever. I've got a good gun and I need to get it in use. The enemy team has a couple of pre-formed squads, so they will be working together, and at the very least I'm sure those KV-1B drivers will be headed back my way, looking for a little bit of vengeance. So let's see what we can spot, or at least that's the plan. Aircraft have a slightly different idea. Down 3 crew, my ability to fire is temporarily knocked out, which has allowed these T-34s to get in position. Had I not been strafed, I would have been able to shoot them when they first arrived. I probably would have survived there. I still might not have gotten both of them. I think after killing the first, the second would have probably backed off and chosen another route. There you can see, as I say, there's a couple of preformed squads. Just things to keep in mind, so that if you kill someone with a particular squad tag, you can expect that there's going to be someone else who is now alerted to your position. We're back in the M4 Sherman with quite an unusual array of ammunition, I guess. Remember, this is my alt account, so my crews are fairly low level. I can't react quite as quickly to some threats as I would like. Gun doesn't turn at full speed. I don't have expert crew on a lot of the tanks. But we're making do with what we've got. Now I know that there is at least that one captured T-34 headed back to the town area. We do have a light tank over there and a M4A2 from my other squad mate, Martellus. Hopefully that will at least hold him up, if not kill him. Just keeping my eye out for targets on the way back to position. Try and be mindful of where the cover is, where I'm exposed, and where the enemy shots are coming from. There's something just missed me, so that could have been a very quick death. I can see a lot of movement, a lot of gunshots. There's quite a few tanks in the distance. I don't want to hang around in the area for too long, but anything I can cause damage to or take out on my way back is great. And it should hopefully also increase my chances of getting into position. But as I get further towards this eastern side, I have more directions to look in. There could be enemies coming through the centre, there will be enemies on the opposing hills, and there could be enemies coming through the town, so I'm starting to get into riskier territory. Keep an eye over on that ridge, but at the same time try not to live my life in binoculars, as it's a good recipe for getting yourself shot in the back. I'm almost into the position I wanted. 3 allies on the other hand just died slightly to the west of me. I've no idea if they were taken out from close range or sniped from across the map, so that's not too great for me. I don't want to take too long over some of these shots. The more shots I take from one place, even if the target can't quite see me, the more chance that they work out my location and shoot back. The other thing, of course, is to be mindful of all the cover around me. I do slip a lot with it lately and just see a target, stop and start firing. I honestly feel like I'm getting slightly worse at this, but ideally before shooting at any target I need to make sure I'm in cover from another direction at least. Don't just stop in the middle of the open. So I'm currently sitting with a rock to my front that's covering me from the enemy sort of spawn and that main hill. The only way I should be shot is either in my right by anything that's managed to slip through the town without being seen, or from the left, which is the direction my gun is pointed, so I should be able to see that coming. Now there was a pack wagon went that way. Lost track of him. It's quite a low target and has slipped through, but he's turned up down in the river right in front of our spawn, so he's marked on the map. He should get taken out. I certainly won't have a shot on him. So once again, just checking for any targets I can see, anything I could potentially eliminate. You can see there's some gun smoke behind the rock on the hill as well. Slightly dirty shot on the Jagdpanzer IV, but that's another top tier vehicle eliminated. And I can start working my way back to where I wanted to be. There's another tank just behind that Panzer IV G. He's got no engine, he's got no turret drive. There was no way he could get a shot back on me there. And he burned down, so... It's up to 11 kills now, and although I didn't see it at the time, I have just noticed while doing this this post commentary that there is Panzer IV driving right to left in the background there. Can't see it quite at the moment, but it is over there. It's driving the same route that that pack wagon took, although the pack wagon has finally been eliminated. There he goes, I've just spotted him. Sorry, not a Panzer IV, it's a Whirlwind. I've just seen him. I might have been able to get a shot earlier, but I was so focused on trying to get an angle for that, that pack wagon. Preferably an angle without showing myself to anything on the enemy spawn hill. That's why I'm sort of wiggling around between this rock. As with the bulk of my footage lately, this is taken from stream, so please don't mind the pop-ups. It's not somebody invading your video. Just trying to keep an eye for that Whirlwind. I know he's slipped through. I'm safely covered from sort of the bulk of the directions here. Nobody should be able to get a shot on me unless they've got right behind. And I do have an angle to be able to shoot down into the river, where the Whirlwind is finally crossing, and we can take him out. It's not something I want sitting at our spawn, especially as you look at the scoreboard, we are just ever so slightly behind on players. They've still got a few people in there with 0 or 1 deaths, and most of our team has died 3 or 4 times and is eliminated from the battle, so we're not doing too well. We've still got roughly 50% of the map under control, so we haven't given up too much in that way. We're just running out of players to keep that control. Something which I am trying to work on. Stay safe, use my third-person camera, use my binoculars, find whatever targets I can. In this case, it's a captured Churchill. So I'm going to load the AP rounds because my APHE isn't going to get through the front there. I've still got to hit the right part at this range to be able to pen it with the solid AP, and that is not a shot I'm managing to achieve, so rather than give him more and more chances to fire back, I'm going to swap back to my regular rounds. I'll reposition, and we'll leave him out there. Maybe I've done enough to scare him off, maybe he won't choose to advance. There is a nice little host of Whirlwinds to be picked off, so let's start with that instead. That shot. Just a barrel. 1 of 4. And suicide bombed. No, not quite suicide bombed. He just dropped a bomb without a fuse and blew his own wings off. So we're on to spawn number 3. This is now the M4A1, the cast hull Sherman. And the enemy is capturing A, so I know exactly where I'm going as soon as I spawn in. It's 1 death from the bomb. 1... I think I probably would have still died anyway, but certainly accelerated death, courtesy of another aircraft. And I'm running out of sort of strong tanks. The difference in the regular M4 and the M4A1 isn't huge, but it can and does make a difference. The Whirlwind especially has a much easier time getting through the front armour of this Sherman, or even the side armour in fact. This cast hull has got a few more weak points, a bit less armour on it, and those 20 mils just start to chew through it. But right now, my priority is defending this cap. We're running low on players, we have been for quite a while. I'd rather not have to sort of monitor the objective at all times as well. So just going to drive around, see what I can find. Hopefully not drive into the enemy's gun. It's quite a bit of cover for them to hide behind. There's the engine smoke. Did unfortunately get the other M4A1 before I got here, but now he's got no breach. And he's eliminated. I have no intention of staying with this capture point though. It's a long recap. I think it's somewhere between about 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes at this stage. It's a lot of time to be sat in one place, especially when you know that the enemy is outnumbering you. So just looking for any other targets in the area and then hopefully get out of here without taking too much damage. Of course, first I have to repair my breach. I now know there's a Panzer IV over there. Almost all my teammates are now on the cap with me, so for one, I've got to stop and repair anyway. For the other, if there's more people here, the cap will go quickly. So in the end, I am going to end up recapping this point. Other than a bit of capture speed for the enemy, you don't actually lose anything by not holding the cap in battle mode. If it's a neutral cap, it doesn't lose you any tickets. You know, the game's not in any worse of a situation, it's just that the enemy will be able to cap it slightly faster. So I never really consider this something worth retaking. Not unless it's quite close to being captured already. But we have got it back under our control because of that repair time. I've lost another teammate, we're now down to just the 4 of us. And a bush firing 20 mils at me, so we'll fire one of my own back. Much bigger, 75mm round. Now at this stage of the game it is 4v10, so we're quite a bit behind on number of vehicles. We're also quite a bit behind in terms of map control, but we are 600 tickets ahead, so we are actually winning in another way. Let's just let the team know, as long as we don't have a sudden mass death, we've only got 5 minutes that we just have to defend and stay alive. Now in theory, as long as everybody only dies once and doesn't respawn, all I've got to do is defend the cap. We've just lost the AMX-13, so that's now only a 500 ticket lead. There's only 3 of us left. So if the other 2 players with me die, I've still got a 300 ticket lead. All I've got to do is not let them get that cap. It should take, depending on how many players are doing it, if there's only 1 player decapping it, it should take, I think it's about 1.5 minutes to decap, and then 2 minutes to fully cap it. Now, of course, we are a long way behind on players, as I said, so they can cap it faster than that. So it's not like I want to get down to the 3-minute mark and then run and hide and just wait. Do need to hold it a bit longer than that, but time is running out for them. As long as we still have something alive somewhere in this game, it won't end. And they have to cap it to win, because they're too far behind on tickets. So I'm just playing pure, full-on cap defense now. Ignore everything else. Just defend that cap. Bit of a rushed shot from both of us there. I think he just fired upon seeing me, and well, I should have taken more time over it, seeing that he was already on reload. It's alright, I've won the engagement. Have just lost both my remaining teammates at the same time though, so again, I've just got to survive for a couple more minutes. Both teams just lost another 2 players, so the gap is still the same. We're still ahead. I have had one ally respawn. That's another enemy down, so again, widening the gap. We are still ahead. Just got to go and make sure they don't cap. And honestly, right now, probably the best thing I could do is go and park myself behind a building on that cap and just make sure that I block it completely. I'm not quite sure why I didn't go with that plan. It is the smarter play here. Instead, I'm actually sort of actively hunting for any enemies in the area. Just blocking the cap, I will be able to see them coming to me. So it's much less risky than what I am doing. So I'm not taking the smartest play, which I'm a little confused about watching this back. But I have managed to get the drop on this whirlwind. So further widening the gap, further ensuring that they aren't getting to the capture point. Oh, that was a terrible follow-up shot after knocking out his gunner. It's kill number 18. All the rest of their team seems to be focused entirely around our spawn. And that could have very almost been another death inflicted from above. Thankfully, small bomb this time. A lot of panic firing going on. But this gap in terms of tickets is getting wider and wider, so it still just all comes down to this capture point. And the enemy team is throwing away a lot of time by hanging around our spawn point. Maybe they're just trying to farm enough players that they can close that ticket gap. Something which I don't think is really a good strategy, because we do have that big of a ticket lead. I don't think we can respawn enough times. But if you look at the timer, there's only a minute left. So I was going to spawn the Chaffee, and then I'd spotted that timer and decided, actually, the best thing I can do is to just spawn an aircraft and hang back at the runway. I don't need to actually get into the battle. They've got a huge player advantage. Their team seems to be nothing but whirlwinds at this stage, and honestly, even before the recent spawn changes, that's always been Germany's not-so-secret weapon. The reason they won so many games is because the whirlwind is effectively a very cheap, very powerful backup spawn that other nations just didn't have. But I've managed to hold off long enough. Time is coming to a close. They simply cannot cap that point fast enough, even with their whole team now. It just won't be fast enough. And as long as someone is alive on our team, we win. So me spawning the plane as far away from the enemy as possible, that was all that was required. Just one player alive. And we won. We were behind on players for almost the whole game, but 19 kills, a lot of cap defense at the end. And we managed to pull that game back, get it under control. So, yeah, full up tier, 3.7 US. A very good result. But we'll end it there. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.